My name is Aisha, and I am a simple girl from a small town. I grew up in a small house with my parents, two brothers, and a younger sister. Life was not rich in money, but it was rich in love. My father worked hard to provide for us, and my mother always taught me that dignity and patience were a woman's crown. When I was a little girl, I dreamed of love like I had seen in dramas and movies. A husband who would hold my hand, protect me, and make me feel like I was the only woman in his world. Those dreams grew with me, and when I turned 22, my marriage was arranged. Like every girl, I had big hopes, but also big fears. Marriage is not just about clothes, food, or photographs. It is about two lives joining together. And the thing I feared most was not the new house or new people. It was the unknown of my first night. The wedding day came faster than I expected. From the morning, our house was full of relatives, laughter, and the sound of women singing wedding songs. I was dressed in a heavy red dress covered with embroidery. My hands were decorated with mehndi, my face covered with makeup, and golden jewelry rested on my arms and neck. From the outside, I looked like a bride, but inside, I was still the nervous, shy Aisha. As the guests blessed me, I kept thinking, what will happen tonight? I had heard so many stories. Cousins whispered about pain, friends joked about romance. Some said it was awkward, some said magical, but all I felt was uncertainty. Finally, the nikah was read. I signed my name. My parents' eyes were wet. My father kissed my forehead and whispered, "Be patient, my daughter. Be kind, and you will build your new home with love." My heart trembled hearing that. When the rukhsati came, I hugged my mother and felt like a piece of my soul was staying behind in her arms. I cried quietly in the car as we drove to my husband's home, my new home, my future. When I reached, everyone welcomed me kindly. His mother hugged me, his sisters smiled, and his relatives blessed me. They made me sit in the living room decorated with lights and flowers. I kept my eyes lowered the whole time, but my heart was restless. The thought of the night ahead never left me. After the guests left, his sisters teased me, saying, "Now we will leave you to your prince." They laughed and guided me to the decorated room. My heart was pounding so loudly I thought they might hear it. The room was filled with perfume and rose petals. The bed was decorated with red roses. Candles flickered softly on the tables. It looked beautiful, almost like a dream, but I was too nervous to enjoy it. I sat on the bed, my hands shaking in my lap, my head lowered. The sound of my own heartbeat echoed in my ears. I tried to calm myself, but every second felt heavier. Then I heard the door open. I didn't look up, but I knew it was him, my husband, the man I had married just hours ago, but who still felt like a stranger. He entered quietly and closed the door with a click. The sound made me shiver. He walked slowly toward me. I could feel his presence, his shadow falling across me. My heart raced faster. He sat down on the bed, but not too close. For a moment, there was complete silence. I expected him to rush, to demand, to claim me. But instead, he whispered gently, "Aisha, I know this is not easy. I won't force anything. I just want to talk first." His voice surprised me. It wasn't heavy or harsh. It was calm, gentle, almost shy. I lifted my eyes slowly and looked at him properly for the first time. He was smiling nervously, not like a man ready to conquer, but like a boy who didn't want to scare a bird resting in his hand. That simple, nervous smile gave me peace. My breath slowed, and for the first time, I felt a little safe. He offered me a glass of water. Our fingers touched as I took it, and a spark ran through me. My cheeks warmed, and I lowered my eyes again. He chuckled softly and said, "You don't have to be so shy. I'm not going to eat you." That made me smile for the first time that night. Just a small smile, but it broke the wall of silence between us. Instead of rushing into anything, he began talking about his life. He told me about his school days, his most embarrassing moments, how nervous he was before entering the room tonight. That shocked me. I had always thought men were confident on their wedding night. But here he was, admitting he was scared too. That honesty melted my fear little by little. After a while, he grew silent again. His eyes met mine. Then he asked softly, "Can I hold your hand?" I hesitated but slowly nodded. He took my hand gently, as if holding something fragile. His hand was warm and steady. His thumb moved lightly over the back of my hand. That tiny movement felt so intimate, so personal. My heart raced, but now it wasn't fear. It was sweetness. Then he leaned closer and said, "I won't do anything tonight unless you're ready. I want you to feel safe, not scared." And suddenly, tears filled my eyes. I didn't even know why. Maybe relief, maybe gratitude. I had imagined so many bad possibilities, but here was a man who wanted my comfort more than his desire. He wiped my tears with his fingers, gently brushing my cheek. That touch made me close my eyes. It wasn't lust, it was care, deep care. Then slowly, he placed a kiss on my forehead. A long, warm kiss that seemed to touch my soul. He whispered, "We have our whole life together. Tonight doesn't have to be about pressure. Let it be about love." We lay down side by side. My head rested on his chest. I could hear his heartbeat, slow, strong, steady. It made me feel safe, like I belonged there. We didn't rush. We didn't try to be perfect. He kissed my hair, ran his fingers gently along my arm, whispered small words of comfort. When he finally leaned closer to kiss my lips, I didn't turn away. I let it happen, because I trusted him, because I felt ready. It was slow, shy, awkward at first, but it was real, and it was beautiful. That night wasn't about the body. It was about two souls beginning a journey together. I realized something important. The first night doesn't have to be about fear or pressure. It should be about trust, respect, and patience. I was lucky. I had a husband who understood that. As I drifted to sleep in his arms, I thought, this is how love should begin. When the first rays of sunlight entered the room, I woke up slowly. My eyes opened, and for a moment, I didn't know where I was. Then I felt the warmth of his arm still around me, steady and protective. That's when I remembered. It was my first morning as a wife. I turned my head slightly. He was asleep, breathing calmly, his chest rising and falling. I stared at him for a while. I had never looked at a man so closely before. He looked peaceful, not the way I had imagined a husband after the first night. A wave of gratitude washed over me. Gratitude that he hadn't rushed me, that he had respected my feelings, that he had given me love instead of fear. Quietly, I got up and stood before the mirror. My hair was messy, my makeup gone, my eyes still heavy with sleep. But I felt different. No longer only someone's daughter. I was now a wife, a partner, a woman who had begun a new journey. Just then, I heard his sleepy voice, soft but playful. "Where are you running away so early, Mrs. Aisha?" I blushed and turned. I wasn't running. I was just... He stretched, rubbed his eyes, and gave me a crooked smile. "Then come back. Don't leave me alone on our first morning." His words, so simple, filled my heart with warmth. I walked back and sat beside him. He took my hand, kissed it gently, and whispered, "Aisha, last night you gave me your trust. I promise I'll spend my whole life protecting it." Those words sank into my soul. I didn't reply. I just lowered my eyes, hiding the tears that wanted to fall again. The first week after the wedding was full of rituals and relatives, smiling faces, laughter, blessings, and endless cups of tea. Every person who visited had the same question. "So, how is he treating you?" I never found the words to answer properly. How could I explain the small things? The way he held my hand under the table when I was nervous, the way he noticed my tiredness and quietly took the tray from me, the way he looked at me as though I mattered more than the world. Every gesture was an answer in itself, but nights were different. Nights were only ours. One evening, about a week after our wedding, we sat on the balcony under the stars. The air was cool, carrying the smell of jasmine from the garden. He asked me softly, "Do you feel comfortable with me now?" I looked at him, shy but honest. Yes, more than before. His eyes sparkled. He leaned closer and whispered, "Then let me love you more deeply tonight." I didn't look away. I didn't feel the fear I had on our first night. Instead, I felt something new: curiosity, anticipation, and trust. That night, our love grew. Not rushed, not forced, but shared. Every touch was careful. Every kiss was gentle. Every embrace full of respect. It wasn't about bodies alone. It was about two souls learning the rhythm of each other. For the first time, I understood intimacy. It was not pain, not shame. It was closeness. It was trust. It was the beautiful surrender of two hearts. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Slowly, I learned how different marriage was from what I had imagined. There were responsibilities, managing the house, pleasing the in-laws, learning new habits. There were moments when I felt overwhelmed, moments when I missed my family so much that I cried silently at night. But he never let me feel alone. One night, when I was especially sad, he noticed my red eyes and asked, "Aisha, did you cry?" I tried to deny it. "No, I'm fine." But he took my hand, looked into my eyes, and said firmly, "Never hide your tears from me. I am your home now. If you feel pain, let me share it. If you feel joy, let me celebrate it." That moment, I realized that real marriage is not about being perfect. It's about being true. One evening, while sitting together, I confessed to him, "I was so scared before our first night. I thought you would hurt me or not care about how I felt." Aisha, a husband who forces his wife is not a man. He is only a selfish boy. Real love means waiting, respecting, and protecting. I didn't marry you to own you. I married you to walk with you. I closed my eyes and let those words sink deep into my heart. That was the moment I fell in love with him completely. Not because he was my husband, not because tradition said I should, but because he had earned it through kindness, patience, and respect. As the night passed, we talked more. He asked about my childhood, about my favorite foods, about the silly things I used to do with my cousins. I laughed as I shared my little secrets. And he laughed too, telling me how he used to run from his strict teacher, or how he once broke a neighbor's window with a cricket ball and blamed it on the wind. Those little stories, those shared giggles, made the room feel lighter, warmer, safer. There was no awkward silence anymore. Instead, every word built a bridge between us. And slowly, very slowly, I realized this was not just the first night of my marriage. It was the first night of a friendship, the beginning of a bond that could last a lifetime. He held my hand again, and this time I didn't feel shy. I looked into his eyes, and for the first time that day, I felt truly at home. He kissed my hand softly and whispered, "I promise, Aisha, I will never let your tears fall without wiping them. I will never let your smile fade without bringing it back. You're my wife, but more than that, you're my partner, my equal, my heart." Tears filled my eyes again, but these were not tears of fear. They were tears of joy, of gratitude, of relief. I rested my head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. It was steady, calm, reassuring, and slowly, sleep took over me. That night, in his arms, I felt like the safest person in the world. The days after were not always perfect. We had disagreements, we had struggles, we had moments of silence. But that night taught me something powerful. Love does not begin with passion. It begins with respect. And when respect is there, love grows stronger with every sunrise. Now, when I sit on the balcony at night, I look up at the stars and whisper a prayer of gratitude. My first night could have been a nightmare, full of fear, confusion, and pressure. But instead, it became the most beautiful memory of my life. The night I found not just a husband, but a true companion. And to every girl listening to my story, remember this: your first night, your marriage, your love, it should never be about fear. It should be about trust, about two people willing to listen, willing to wait, willing to care. That is where true love begins. And to every man, remember this too: be the kind of husband who makes her feel safe, not scared. Make her proud to call you hers. Because in the end, love is not about force, it is about choice. And when she chooses to love you with her whole heart, that is the greatest gift you will ever receive. If you enjoyed my story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Pro English Stories. For more heartfelt tales, thank you for listening.